Aloha. A lot of people just don't know how to do a quick restring. I've got a student that's actually looking to do a restring. So I'm going to just show this really quick. I have an old beater guitar that I really enjoy. Long story short, it's an old Yamaha. It has a lot of miles on it. I probably put, I don't know, 700-800 hours on this. I don't know. I take this everywhere I can. It's been to several Burning Mans. It's been all across the Midwest. It's been, I think I took it to Europe. Or no, I didn't. Anyhow, this guitar has seen it all. It has a couple issues, so right now I just want to make sure that I can get my truss rod a little bit tighter. I've taken all the other superfluous items off, and I have my strings ready to rock. I'm just showing the way that I do it in case it helps anybody else to figure out how they're gonna do their own thing. I have already taken my fretboard cleaner to the extent that I wanted to. I think I could do it just a tiny bit more. I take this thing because it has rough edges and it gets off all the finger gunk. Thusly, if I was professionally going to have this done, or do it professionally myself, I would be using some sort of wood treater, like a Martin wood treater. However, I did sink some in on this, so it does have it on there, so it can keep my frets a little bit more moist. Long story short, we live in a place which is moist anyway, so there's not a whole lot of reason to do this, but I put so many hours on this that I've worn down my the wood and the enamel. I also have a couple different tools inside my pack, most important of which is going to be clippers. I have a string winder, a tuner, and then I keep some nuts, blank slates in here in case I have a student that needs a new nut or has a fretting issue where you're getting some buzzing. You could grind some of this down, little dust, put it on a card, put a tab of super glue on top of where you're put it on top of it, wait a couple minutes, let it form, put the strings on, tune it up, and if it gets rid of the buzzing, great. Sometimes you need to file it down, so it's always important to have a set of filings that you could use. They come in many different sizes. There's only 2 in a package that you generally use, and I end up using mine so they break and get horrible. You can't even see that, but it's all bent all gobbledygook. And then, as I said just a second ago, it has the Allen wrenches. Now, the Allen wrenches are great for instruments that have the Allen wrench key. However, this one has a dual nut, which means it has a flathead Allen up top, and the Allen is stripped because this is 25 years old. This is the FG75. I was hoping, that's a funny thought, I was hoping to sell it later in life, but now I'm just gonna keep it. I love it. Other than that, there's a lot of other tools that come in these packs. You can look at them as being something which is interesting that you might or might not use. I don't use everything that's always in a pack, however, I do use the essentials. Now, let's just get down to brass tacks. One of the things I like to do is clean all the nastiness off of my, my guitar. A lot of the gunk comes up between on the end of the bridge here and then underneath where the fingerings are. So I just clean off all my edges. Throw it down. As you can see, this is a beater. It's not going to be putting the hull in or anything. I like all sorts of strings. I've tried them all. When you try strings, I would say stick with the pack that they give you. There's a reason why they do that, but if you are particular, you have a way that you like to play. Some people like to put 9s or 10s on their acoustics up top. 11s are fine, they're a little thicker. I would say don't go lower than like a 52 on the lowest end of the bass. It just gets too bassy. I think what I had was like maybe a, I don't know, 47, 46, something like that. Interesting. How weird. Super weird. Anywho, these are color coded on here. I'm pretty sure that the heavier they go, the darker the color they go. They group the set of 3s on top and the set of 3s on bottom together, so that's at least helps you out. What I like to do is just unwind these by twisting them in and out all together. Take just the ends and hold them and shake them until they're all tree out. I use these at a time. I know that this one, oh, they put 4 together, which means E and A are over there together. So you can tell which one's the tiniest one. It's the silver. You can tell that the B is the purple one and that it's also going to be that silver kind of color. Chromium. And then our phosphor bronze is going to be the black and the green. You just got to tell which one's which. Seems as if the green is a little bit thinner, so that's going to be the G, and the D is going to be the black. Thusly, I'm going to go ahead and take out all 4 of those tuning pegs, hold them in my hand, right in my mitt, And then I'm going to sink in each one corresponding to the place that they should be. The black is going to be my D string, push it all the way in. The green is going to be my G string, press it all the way in. The purple is going to be my B string, and then the silver is going to be my E string. So what I do is push these all in until I hear them hit the bottom. Ready? There it is. I then take my pick, not my pick, my pegs, stick them in the hole slot down at the end of the bridge on the down at the end of the saddle on the bridge, and then put my finger over the top of them and then pull all the strings up till I hear them click. When you do that, they are sitting snugly underneath that sound pin now. So I then take these notes, these strings, and I go directly up. Oh, I didn't clean the top of there. Well, I'm going to clean that ever so slightly because it is funky. This is funky. I clean it with my Steely Dan. Oh, that'd be a bad idea. It would just get funkier if you know what a Steely Dan is. All right. Ooh, that thing's getting dirty too. So now that's a little cleaned off, has a little bit of moisture on there. All right, we're gonna take our strings all the way up. Since I'm working with 4 strings, hold the D string, go up through the middle. So you're holding it going all the way up in between all of your tuning pegs. When I do this, I'm taking my finger and putting it on the 1st fret, 2nd fret, somewhere near there, right near my fire flame. And when I have this here, I hold it up there. The idea is you put the string in here, and then when you tune them and wind them, they go around the string. Thusly, what I do is I just line up my strings right here, put it all the way up into the guitar tuner, pull it through, and then I just kind of leave it there until I've got all of my other strings there. And then I deal with them together. If you find your strings are slipping, the concept is just let the other strings go, make sure you don't screw up your guitar, put it on the D slot right here, and then pull it back 1 fret. Now watch what I'm doing here. It is up here. I have my finger on the 3rd fret. I'm gonna take the string on the 3rd fret and pull it back to the 4th fret. Watch this. 3rd fret, pull it back to the 4th fret, done. I'm gonna take this string, I'm gonna start winding it ever so slightly so it moves towards the inside. When I do that, the string will bend itself around. And when it bends itself all the way around back, you want to make sure that it's up and over when you continue to turn. You want the string to go over the string that you just put on, okay? When I get it a little tight, I wait till I get the string all the way around it, say twice around the fulcrum, and let it wrap around itself. And then I kind of just leave it to its own devices so it's tight. I don't tune the entire thing. I just leave it so this one's not in the way and that one's not in the way. Meaning this one's on the guitar now and this one's hanging above the top. It's wound. I'm gonna take the next string, do the same thing. I'm not gonna talk through it so I could actually move through there. Believe it or not, my day is ended. I have had a 9-hour day and I love to go back and get it. Oh, I already fixed these. Okay, so I'm up here at the 1st fret. I'm gonna pull this one back about to the middle of the 2nd fret because it's a little thinner than the other string. Again, when I wrap this, I want the string to go up through the middle, and when it doubles back, I'm gonna take this string that's wrapped back towards me and pull it over the top. If I pull it up and give it a little tighty, it bends itself, and then all I have to do is keep my finger on this fret so it does not double back. Remember, when it gets back around on itself, make sure that it's going above and not under. Sometimes it happens. So, when you get it about here, you can go crazy, because after the 2nd one, it'll just stay underneath. Let them wrap. As I said, you don't have to get in tune, just so this is out of the way and it's not an issue. A good wrap should not have more than like 6 wraps on there. A good wrap should have like 3 to 5. And when we do that, you can hear it get a little tighter, and that's about when I stop. All right, we're gonna go for the B string here. Oh, new strings are so nice, even on an old out of whack guitar. This one personally needs some fretwork done. I have never taken the frets out of my guitar and replaced them, so I need 5 of them done, which means I think I'm doing the whole thing. At that point, I would be probably making a video and learning a lot about it, which is groovy. Here we go. I need to go up and over, so I pull that, boom, done. Gonna wrap it in on itself, keep that going. At this point, it's also a good idea before the tension is done on all of your strings to go back behind on your gear mechanisms that are back here, and then make sure that all of your screws are tight. Nice. All right, now the E. And also, I don't know if this makes sense to other people, but in the time of COVID, I just always like use my mouth for like a second hand. Like I put my strings in it and I hold like my tuner and stuff. And now that we're living in the time of like health conscious, yada yada, I'm very aware of how many things I do that require me to use my mouth, and it's very weird and interesting now. So I am super mindful of that now whilst I'm doing this stuff. I also work labor and construction, meaning it's not always great to put my tools and like a pen I've been using sweaty all day, blah, 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 in my mouth. So very conscious of that now, and it changes the mechanism onto which I've been doing this for 30 years, so I feel like a little off. So if you've been doing this for 30 years and you change your mechanism, tell me what you do that's different than what I do. Maybe it's all the same, maybe you were taught the same way I am. I really had most of my education about how to tune instruments at a place called Music Folk in Missouri. I believe that Don and Andy, they still own it, and I hope they do, because a lot of wonderful musicians came out of that store. When I first started, I guess to see if you would last, they just give you tasks like tuning stuff over and over and over again. So I tuned hammered dulcimers and mountain dulcimers and basses and harps, the Celtic harps, over and over and over again, to the point where I just got a little better at it. Now granted, I didn't work muchu buku hours there, but I got as many hours as I could for a year or two. I met a lot of great people there. I really wish I would have kept up with a lot of those musicians. I wish them the best, and I know that, you know, if it was meant to be, our paths would have crossed again. So I wish everyone there the best, but I got to give big shout outs to Music Folk in Missouri. They really, really, really shaped a lot of how I feel and think about music. I did not notice it then, but I notice it now. The people that I worked with were amazing musicians and just underrated, doing a lot of studio work, a lot of touring, country, stuff like that. So I wish them the best. I hope everyone's doing great. And I wish the family best as well. Ooh, buddy. That's probably not the best amount of wines. I only got 2 on that sucker. I think it should be fine. This one I'm going to probably put a little bit more though. It always kind of gets me on the E and the A on how far to pull them back. I never want to pull them back more than like a fret. This one I'm going to pull back, let's see here, it's already, I'm going to pull back about a half fret and a half. No, on the E about a half a fret. So when I do that, make sure that this one also is going up through the middle, and on the E it's easier to explain. I guess I should show this one as well. Place the string up going through the tuning peg, put it through and turn it until the string itself is about to come over. Lift it over the top while keeping your finger here and just keep tuning. That way you don't need a multitude of different tools to do this, laying it on a table. You quite literally can hold the instrument while you're doing it. I've seen a lot of things on and off stage as far as music goes, and I've never seen a guitar tech take as long as I am taking right now to do this. So to each their own. And then granted, I don't think I put enough ties around on my A, and rather than pull it back and get a dead string, I'm going to see where we are and see if I can give it a little bit more of a foundation here. So this isn't always the best idea because the strings are kind of bent in that location. However, when you double bind over something like that, it's not too terribly bad. I'm going to pull it back right here to where I want it, giving myself one more extra turn, start the process again. And then if I see any snappage, I'm just going to take it off and put a new one. String goes over, and if it binds underneath with no issue, and we got no issue. Wonderful. And if you have no clue what I'm talking about right now, I pulled back the frets a tiny bit so I could have more of a wind on the peg. Sometimes if you do that, you don't get the same amount of turns. On the E, I have about 2.5. On the A, I have about 2.5. On the D, I've got 3. On the G, I've got 4. On the B, I've got 5. And on the E, I've got about 6. So it's about the number that you would go in the opposite number of what your strings are. Let's see here. My process for tuning this up would be to play, turn off the computer. Sorry, piano. Those of you who don't know this, if you hold down the sustain pedal on a piano while turning it on, it switches what it does, meaning the note you play will sustain without having to hold it. It's much easier when you're tuning. Here's my E. I'm gonna get close. Leave it there. From there, I'm gonna do the E, A, D, G, B, just so I can hear it. Ready? Goes up to an A. At that point, I just play the 5th fret at the E to get an A. Tune it up there, close. This one as well. Gonna go up to a D note. When I get there, I stop. I go to the 5th fret and I play that D note, and I get my G. For me, I know I have issues with this tuning peg, so I'm gonna press this down, make sure it's nice and secure, which it's looking a little funky to me, so I'm gonna take that down. And now that I've got it depressed, I'm gonna make sure that that gear and binding is nice and tight, and that my screw on the back of my, oh yeah, it's super loose. So when I do that, it's gonna push it down and make sure that it's super tight against the mechanism. It's the only one that I have an issue with, so I always kind of check it. And I'm looking for sponsorship. If anybody has a way in to get a Gibson or a Taylor or a Fender or heck, anything really, I'm looking for somebody to put an instrument in my hand so I have a nicer instrument to play. I've been playing this Yamaha for 24 years. I've played thousands of shows, thousands of campfires. It is what it is. So here we go. We're going to tune this sucker up, get that G going again. And let's hear it. Oh. As soon as we get it up, I'm going to get that B note as well. Ooh, slipping. That means that either the peg's there or the note's slipping. Oh, this bottom one, the string wasn't up against the peg, which is great. We're only going to get a couple more tunes out of here. There it goes. We got our E. All right, so when I get close, about here is when I do the magic. I go here and I either wrap up my strings and make them round and pretty so I have something sticking off, or I take my clippers right here, come up to the guitar string, go about an inch, and then go in 1/2 inch about right there, should be about that far, cut that sucker off, and keep all these. They're great little cleaners, by the way, if you know what I mean. And then as soon as I have that off like this, I'm gonna take the piece with my thumb, put it on there and push it back towards the peg so it's sticking out of the way and does not snag on it. I'm gonna do that for every single one of these. When you're a beginner, you might accidentally cut off the actual string and have to redo it. It happens. How interesting. So what we do after we get these on here is we take the bottom note and make sure against the tuner that it's in tune. Once it's close to in tune, try and play a chord. If you're close, great. And the idea is I take my hand, put it on the 5th fret manhandle it. Go to about the 7th fret, put your finger on an individual string, take your hand, go underneath that string, and pull up about the size of a quarter, the coinage, that far. Give it a nice tight stretch. Stretch! Do that on every string at the 7th fret. Give it a nice little pull. Not too much, just enough. Then go to the 12th fret, do the same thing. When I pull these up, it tightens anything that's loose here and on the tuning peg. Play that same chord. See how it kind of went out of whack? Here's where I do my secondary tune. Nice! A little bit more fine tuning, but at that point, this sucker is ready to rock. That's how you retune, restring a guitar. If you put your instrument on and there's just a huge gap between there, that's a little high, that's where the Allen wrench comes into play. I'm gonna do it on my own time and not waste yours. However, have a great day. Aloha!